Hi, I'm Broma,
And I'm Radhika.
and together,
We're Prom Rad.
what no one gets to see is the 5 seconds before the recording starts when we're normal, and then suddenly we're like, it just like a slight,
Attention.
yeah. It's like when your parents walk in the room and you're like, hi.
So today we're going to talk about the new season of Deli Boys, which is out on Hulu on May 28th. It is created by Abdullah Saeed with Michelle Nader as the showrunner and stars Asif Ali, Saagar Shaikh, Poorna Jagannathan, and a bunch of other people that we will get into. And the show is in its second season and it follows two brothers. After their multimillionaire father dies suddenly, they discover that their riches have come from a nefarious place, which is a cocaine drug empire. And they have been tasked to take this over, and they literally have no idea what they're doing. And so Poorna Jagannathan's character, Lucky Auntie, takes them under her wing to show them the ropes of everything that's happening and has been happening for their whole life under their noses.
Takes them under her wing, but like pretty aggressively, sternly.
Yeah,
He attaches them to the wing and is like, learn how to fly. Go. What's
literally,
wrong with
yeah.
you? Why can't you do it?
She's an auntie in the truest of senses.
The show was a big deal with season one because it like came out kind of towards after Never Have I Ever had ended. So we were like, we need a new Desi show to rally around, and comedy especially. And Purna especially is so beloved. Sagar and Asif have been like building their comedy careers for ages, like cutting their teeth, and they've both been in Marvel at this point. So I think it was like there was such excitement surrounding the show when it started out, and then you get to watch like everyone just behaving so badly and just beating people up and shooting and doing drugs and all of this stuff, and it's not really the kind of representation that most people are used to, and it felt really new and fun, and you can just tell that they're having so much fun making it. And I had fun, covering season one. I got to interview Poorna for IndieWire, which was really cool because then it was part of our awards campaigning, and I was like, she should get an Emmy for this, and she did get a Gotham
Yeah,
Award, which is cool.
you were there for it too, right?
I was sat in the front row watching her speech like a
Aw.
like a proud mom, just beaming at her. I was like,
Yeah, this was a very important step in terms of the representation conversation, which has its ups and downs in terms of actually having that conversation. But I did love that it was kind of traversing a new path for what South Asian American types of comedies and shows could be. For me, I liked the show. I didn't love it, but like it's a good time pass, fun
same.
thing to check into. My biggest takeaway, and I'm curious if you agree with this, but I kind of felt like Asif and Sagar were playing against their own typical type. Like Asif, if you watch his stand up, he is a madman on stage, and the way that his emotions manifest on stage is kind of part of his whole bit. And in this show, he's playing the quote unquote straight man, and the brother who's more by the book, and the businessman, and the one who expects to be the brains of the operation. Whereas Sagar, and I haven't seen a ton of things that Sagar's done other than some improv that I've seen him do in LA, and then Miss Marvel, and he didn't have like a huge part in that show. Just based on what I know about Asif, I was like, oh, I'm surprised he's not playing the more drug, unhinged, laid back, whatever. You can kind of make that character your own. So I thought that was interesting. I'm curious what each of them would have done with the other brother, because I was like, oh, I'm like surprised to see Asif kind of more muted as a character.
that's interesting because I'm curious if they had them
Yeah.
do that in the casting process. Like they must have just had a bunch of brown guys of a certain age coming in, so I wouldn't be surprised if they each read for the other character. Like now I can't picture.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if maybe Asif was like, I'm drawn to this because it's not what I normally play, because I know people get sick of playing the same thing. But it's just funny because from what I know, it just seemed so against type, which maybe is the draw.
Yeah, and to that end, I agree with you. I liked the show, didn't love it. It's fun, like crime caper, I think is what I used in my review headline. It's just a romp. You get to watch the craziness unfold, but it is definitely built around that classic comedy structure of the straight man and the silly one. They are very much like a comedy duo in that sense. Like as you were talking, I was like, oh, Mir is kind of the Michael Bluth, and then Raj is all the other Bluths combined. And Lucky is Lucille. That one actually really worked.
So season two basically picks up sometime after the events of season one, and the Dar Empire, Darko, is really thriving in terms of the drug production. And we have a couple of new characters that come into the fold that shake things up. One of them is played by Andrew Rannells. He plays the Philadelphia district attorney who is running to be the mayor of the city and really has his sights set on bringing them down. The main talking point for his campaign is that he is bringing justice to this empire. And then we also have Fred Armisen, who is a multimillionaire, owner of a casino, and he immediately takes to Lucky Auntie, and they have a little relationship that complicates things.
And he helps them launder their money. What did you think about these two? Because they're new cast members, they're regulars, they're in every episode. I really liked the casting of both of them, like for those particular characters. Andrew Reynolds especially, I was just like, he's having so much fun. Again, he's really into leading into like, this character being like square, yet corrupt and just mean to people and so single-mindedly on this mission of like, yes, on the outside, like for the public, it's eradicating drugs, but it very much internally is like going after the Dars specifically.
I think he's always really good. I love when people just commit to the bit, which is what he was doing. And there's a particular evil in his character that, and you see it like they show inside of his campaign office, and he is just being an asshole to everyone around him. So it's not just, like you said, it takes the shine off of like, oh, he's doing something altruistic for the city. And it's not that at all. He wants to take credit for this, and it becomes very apparent. I kind of wish that the character was a little bit more three-dimensional though. Like, he's just the big bad of the season and there's no real nuance. I think there was a lot more nuance in the Fred Armisen character, which I liked a lot more.
I will say that's kind of one of my high level things about this show. And I also don't think that it's trying to do that. Like, I don't think Deli Boys is meant to be some super deep three-dimensional character portrait of anybody. It is just like, no, let's get Poorna the most amazing outfits and have her kick Tan France's butt in stilettos. And it's doing that really, really well, which is great. Like, it's setting out for its mission statement. As a viewer, I do want more of the internality of more of people's backstories, personalities, like the tension they have with each other. In season one, kind of my big gripe was that Raj and Mira are just like, you know, they're doing their little thing, they have their little dynamic through most of the episodes, and then like one day they suddenly fight. And it kind of comes out of nowhere towards the end. They resolve it pretty quickly. And I was like, well, this felt like it could have been a more sustained, like basically the main conflict of the season that's kind of bubbling up underneath it. And maybe it was meant to be, but it didn't come across. So I think that's why also with Andrew Reynolds specifically, I kind of accepted that that's the character we're going to get here. But I agree that Fred Armisen's Max Sugar got more of it. He has his business, he has his love story, he has his daughter. They're very clear about that. Like, this is the thing that he wants to fight for, and like this is his non-negotiable line that he will not cross in his business or his criminal exploits.
What you were saying about the three-dimensionality of the whole show, really, when they introduce him, him and Lucky Auntie jumping into a relationship immediately, I was like, this was not earned in any capacity. Like, I don't know why they're attracted to each other. I don't know. Like, is it just money? Is it just power?
I think it's competence. I think they're both like, you're good at what you do in a similar field. They're a work relationship.
I actually thought it was like when they do this isn't really a spoiler, but they do a therapy episode where they talk about issues in their relationship or whatever. I kind of liked what came up in that context, and what he was saying about how she is basically a surrogate mom to these two adult boy children. I kind of like that he was able to call her on some of that, where her motivations are kind of tied up in them and their man children who need to figure out their own path forward. And she kind of needed to hear that, even though, you know, of course, at the center of the story will always be the relationship between the three of them. It's finally added like another dimension for me, I think, that needed to be said out loud.
And to that end, I think also season two felt more, like you said, it's the three of them at the core. And I think maybe season one, a lot of the time, was trying to position it as the two of them. Lucky from the second she shows up, you're like, I want to know everything about her. I want her in every scene. I want her in their lives. But there's a little more tension between her and them on opposing sides in season one, because they are not yet full-fledged criminals running an empire, but now they are, like all three of them together. There's a fun scene in one of the later episodes where the three of them are just like working. They're like, sitting in an office, but like, selling insane amounts of cocaine.
So we texted a little bit about the character of Nandika, who's played by Amita Rao, and her inclusion in season one. I think we both were like, we want more of this character, and why is she so barely in it? Because when she's on screen, it's electric.
Yes. Another one, the second she showed up, I hadn't seen her in anything, and I was like, wow, like, where have you been?
And I don't think they utilized her to the full extent, because in season one, when she shows up, I think we're meant to think she's kind of unhinged, a little like a screw is loose, as my parents would say. I think as she gets more integrated, when her and Raj start having a romantic or seemingly it's not exactly romantic, starts out as more of just like a business. It's an arrangement in general. Once she's more in the mix, it was more fun because she's just a zany character and you kind of don't know what she's gonna do, and she's written in such like a fun way. And again, in season two, I just feel like she's barely in it, and there's so much more that they could do with the character, and I'm kind of upset that they haven't integrated her more into the story.
Contextually, in season 2, she's also one of like a few walk-ons and cameos, which they've been really touting some of the other ones. Lily Singh is in one episode. I was about to say one scene. It's not one scene. It's a couple scenes, but it is one episode. Tan France, I do think, is in one scene, and was great in season 1. And it makes sense to bring the character back in the way that they do, but for the level of promotion that is built around them, I also understand this is how promotion works. They're both very famous and beloved in the community, and it's good to have them on board on your show and helping to publicize it. Again, like, to the same end, I understand why Amita Rao is not like going on the full press tour and stuff in that way. Tan was his character coming back. The Lily role, I think, could have been done by a number of people, so again, good for marketing purposes that it was her. It is always distracting to me because I'm just like, that's Lily Singh. She's one of the people who her celebrity overshadows her roles a lot of the time, and in this case it's like stunt casting a bit. Nandika, she's also in one episode. It is the same thing like you said before, where it feels like the screw is loose, she's being kind of zany, and they mostly are kind of dismissive of her when what she does ends up being really useful. As a viewer, you're not on the side of the Dar family being like, what's going on? They're stressed about something else, but they're dismissive of her and they're like, this isn't helping. But anyone can, just from 2 seconds into that storyline, you can be like, no, this is helpful, and you are funny, and I want more of you. Their romantic arrangement, I think it could be the source of so many fun kind of hijinks and shenanigans and like type fun. And I also think that she, again, we didn't get it when she was within the group, but I think she could be integrated nicely and have fun chemistry with all 3 of them.
Maybe it's scheduling or something, because it just feels very weird to me, because she's such a standout to me from season 1 that I don't know why you wouldn't then write more for her character, especially because she's so intertwined with one of the main characters. So that was very surprising to me. And on the guest star beat, I fully agree with you about Lily Singh. It always takes me out.
She had like a one line, one scene walk on in Bad Moms, like one of her first movie roles. And I mean, also it's because like we've tracked her career for so long, so like that's a good thing in its own ways too.
Yeah, the Tan France one, again, passable, makes sense. I liked Kumail. I thought he was a good addition and the character was fun. And there's some lore there that they don't fully explain, but you don't need to. It's just like a fun little aside. So I was on board for that. Like, those didn't really bother me too much. I just really wish that Nandika had more to do, because I just think her addition adds so much, and I'm just confused as to why you wouldn't capitalize on it.
It's fun to have all these guest stars, but if you have just a parade of people coming in and out, it does take away, not necessarily from the leads. I don't know that it did take away time or attention from the stories for Raj and Mir and Lucky, but from someone who is kind of this adjacent, like not fully a lead, but has already been established in season 1, who could have been built out, that then gets sidelined.
I think it would be a mistake to make her overtake the story. That's not what we're both advocating for. I think there's an organic way to have her included in the story. Like, Fred Armisen had more to do than she did in this season, you know? So it's like, there was a way. And I don't know what happened behind the scenes, or if there was a creative reason as to not do that. But as a viewer, I wish that there had been more.
But the arrangement still stands. She's still somewhere in the picture. She could still come back. They're still fake married.
I think legally.
That should have come up at some, well, no, she set up that Instagram for him. Because I was like, people are thirsting after Raj this season, but they don't seem to care that he's married. But that is kind of how an internet boyfriend situation works, so never mind. Should we talk about the boys, the titular role? They're having a great time, not just making the show, but even on the press tour. You can see they're doing all these fun little things, popping in with different content creators. They did some funny video today, like they're going to Aladdin. They're gonna just like be at Aladdin on Broadway. But it's just like the level of effort and insanity in that little reel is so above and beyond. So I'm glad that that's happening.
I feel like I really liked Saagar this season. I just think he had more to do in terms of being a bad boy. There was just more opportunity for him to flex different muscles. Asif, like, his character didn't really change too much, so I don't know that there was room for his performance to grow or be different. But you know, I think he was still really great and good line deliveries. He was funny, like, checked all the boxes for me. There was one joke, though. I'm now forgetting who said it, but they made a joke. I think it was Andrew Rannells' character. They made a joke about The Departed and then said it was Blake Lively's best role. It's The Town. They're talking about The Town. It's wrong.
It is The Town. And I was watching.
I was immediately like, this is wrong.
I almost texted you then and I was like, I'll let her get to it. If that's on purpose, though, I think it's actually extra funny to like way fewer people.
Because I had that thought where I was like, someone had to have checked this.
Easy, it's a Googleable.
What was the joke then? If it's meant to be wrong? That he doesn't know anything? Okay.
Like maybe he himself has not seen The Departed
Or The Town, yeah.
or The Town. Two great films. Can we do a Town and Departed rewatch?
I honestly rewatched The Town when my dad and brother were here. That shit still slaps. It's still so good. I have this, I've noticed this in a lot of shows where when they show a drug trip, the way that it is so heightened, immediate. Like they take the drug and 2 seconds later, they're like, I'm jumping off the walls. And that happened at the end of this season. It took me out of it for a second where I was like, it just wouldn't hit you that fast.
It also, I think we've kind of become desensitized to it. Like at this point, we've seen so many animated shroom trips in different movies and stuff that like I have a vision in my head of what that drug's effects are supposed to look like that is totally
Yeah.
based in media examples. Another show we'll talk about later, but Widow's Bay, there's the shroom trip where it's not that, and it's just like he kind of just like keeps blacking out a little. There's no crazy effects on it, and I was like, wow, what a refreshing portrayal.
Yeah, and I think that's why I recognize it when it happens because like the way that Deli Boys does it this season, I'm like I've seen that a million times and it's not iterating in a different way or like telling me anything different about it. And for a show that's about drugs, I'm like it could be a little bit more creative in the way that this is manifesting and the way that even the characters are reacting to this. Like all of it just kind of felt done before to me.
It's still a little jarring to me how casual and comedic they are about it.
Do you mean because they're South Asian or just like the fact that it's like a drug show?
No, I think just in general, I'm just like, because other shows obviously do drug stuff and cocaine in particular, they'll just throw it in there for Hollywood stuff. I think just because it's a focus of the show, it's never really gone. And so they're like pushing the business side of it. It's like in their best interest for more people to do more drugs and they're taking it, they're talking about it, all of that. So it's just a constant presence versus like Seth Rogen randomly doing it in one scene of the studio. Did that happen? I have a clear vision of
Probably.
him. If it's not, it probably will
Like in his
be.
contract, probably to do it.
Yeah, sorry for sounding like an auntie myself, but it's a little bit of me is like, don't do it responsibly. I don't know what that means. It's
Yeah.
very illegal. In terms of our main three leads, once again, I did wish there was more other stuff going on for Raj and Mir. To be fair, the central stuff, the business related stuff, is pretty significant, for Raj especially. There's a lot going on there. And maybe that's part of it is like they don't really have room for personal lives at this point, but I would love for them to have personal lives. Again, like visit with your fake wife sometimes. Mir could have a romantic subplot or other friends or any of that. I would love to see more of any of it for him. And so to that end, like Lucky got to have her, her romance. She got a little bit of a flashback.
The cold open of an episode.
Yeah, it wasn't for
Yeah.
last time. I think it was flashbacks throughout one episode, and that episode was kind of her spotlight. But again, great showing from Poorna. Again, her hair has achieved heights I never imagined. Listen, we tried to. Today's dress code was Lucky Anticore, but neither of us could achieve.
But on your point of, I wish they had more people and just things happening, events in their life to fill out. I think that just goes back to our three-dimensionality aspect. And it's interesting because in season one, Mir is engaged and ready to get married. And so they did have that subplot.
The way, Radhika, I have not thought about that in over a year, and you just reminded me. It is shocking to me that that happened.
I remember that was like one of his driving factors was, he wanted to get married. This was the love of his life. And
That's also interesting because what I remember more is the totally random and unearned side quest of Raj dating his shaman.
yeah, she played a big role in sort of bringing them to justice. And I don't even know that they gave us her name, Mir's fiance at the time. I don't remember it.
I can't even picture her face. I'm so sorry to that actor. I'm sure you did great.
Yeah, well, I think she had way less to do. I don't think she was in the show as much as the
Yes.
shaman character even was. So they had that in season one, and in season two, like you said, there's absolutely nothing going on in either of their lives really outside of this drug empire. And even Raj having the fake marriage or maybe real marriage. Again, they don't capitalize on bringing that into the story at all and how that complicates things or doesn't, or, because she seems like she's on board for everything that's happening. So just think that's such a missed opportunity.
She would love to be a drug lord. Let Nandika be a drug lord.
Yeah, she's a mob wife. She's ready.
It makes me think of I feel like I bring up sitcom a lot. Maybe at this point, not even just on the podcast, but like in my daily life. But you have in a sitcom like an A story and a B story and sometimes even a C story, and they're usually unrelated. Like maybe something ties them together, some theme or something towards the end or a specific character bopping between them, but they're pretty unrelated. And the thing on Deli Boys is, and a lot of modern comedies, and this isn't necessarily a ding, but it is a shift, is that a lot of the time the A and B stories are related. Like in this case, if there are multiple storylines, they're still about Darko and the drug empire, and maybe it's like characters are on different side quests, but we don't really get a break from that.
Yeah. It is a very contained show. I mean, it is only 8 episodes, I think, in both seasons.
This one was 6?
Or was it 6? Okay. Well, season 1 was 10, actually. So this is a much shorter season. So maybe that's why they had to omit some of these things. And I understand there's only so much real estate to get whatever stories you want to come across. I just kind of wish that there had been a little bit more room to explore some of those other things that they had introduced and that did catch for both of us, that we were interested in learning more, spending more time with those people.
And I do view that kind of as a positive because it left me wanting more. I enjoyed the 6 episodes. I thought it was pretty tight, and it was like an easy breezy binge, which I'm sure everyone is going to and watch them all in one sitting when they come out, which is great. Really good for the numbers in terms of streaming. Disney and a lot of these streamers, they count the views early on. I think it's like the first 2 weeks or something. The specific window changes. So watching it early is super beneficial to get more of it made. And I hope we do get more of Deli Boys made a 3rd season with Nandika taking the
It does
reins.
leave off in a kind of cliffhanger-y way. So I think, everyone behind the scenes is hoping for more, and we are also in that boat. So yeah.
I hope it gets renewed, and I hope it gets renewed pretty fast because last time they were in suspense for like months.
A long time.
Yeah, it was a
Which is
little
interesting because
uncool.
they have the viewership numbers at that point. So it's like, what else are you thinking about in terms of the renewal?
Not great optics.
I wrote chutney boarding down because I thought that was funny.
Also, the part where Andrew Reynolds says something he says like spicy to them, and they're like, "Why spicy?" That feels racially coded.
I wish there was more of that, like, because they leaned so much into brown stuff. Where I'm like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more of like making fun of how so much of it is like spicy and chutney and chai and all that. But like, I did enjoy them just like pouring the chutney bottle down his throat, which has to hurt, man.
Deli Boy Season 2 is now streaming. Tell us what you thought about it, if you agree, disagree, how you feel about some of the points that we brought up. Follow us on all of it except Twitter. And send us your questions if you have them. You can email promradproductions@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram. You can probably text us because I think most of you have our numbers.
Justice for Nandika. We need a Nandika spin-off stat.
Deli Girl. Just,
And I'm seated, so.
yeah. The show might end. Honestly, this would track, and it would end with her just destroying everyone and taking over.
Yeah.
Because
Her and Lucky Auntie?
yeah, I actually don't want all the characters to die but then like would the business not pass to Raj's wife legally?
I think we're on to something. Did we say everything?
Great.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm keeping that in.